In the dark depths of Evernight, JB prepared for the looming threat. Shadows twisted and writhed, hungry and merciless. Oliver stood by his side, urging him onward while the air crackled with energy. With a fierce roar, JB unleashed his power, light clashing against darkness, scattering shadow people like autumn leaves. The specters whispered haunting tales, but with resolute determination, JB and Oliver charged forth toward hope and light. In a dimension where the mundane thrived on the surface, shadows danced just a heartbeat away. JB, a jack of all trades with misfit powers, and Oliver, his ghostly companion, existed in a liminal world unseen by most. Here in the grim recesses, figures darker than darkness distanced themselves from daylight, a phalanx of shadow people upon which reality grew dimmer. This was Evernight, a place where spirits grazed like lost souls roaming past memories. JB, with his unruly dark black hair and piercing brown eyes, stood in an alley shrouded by twilight. His breath floated out in wispy veils, but the air was charged with something unnatural. A stir, a flicker caught his gaze. The shadow people swept and swarmed, ravenous and cold, like flickering candle flames desperate for oxygen. It was Oliver, a spirit with a wry grin and glow that shimmered faintly in the dark, his form flickering at the edges. Who sensed it first? JB, behind you, Oliver whispered, his voice a known comfort amidst the foreboding. JB turned just in time to see a shadow rippling toward him, a maw ready to feast on the living. Not today, JB spat through clenched teeth, channeling his energy. Beneath his skin, warmth ignited as he summoned his unusual powers, a cocktail of mechanical skill and ethereal flame. He felt the snap of energy leap through him like electricity, spitting sparks into the oncoming darkness. With a decisive thrust, JB thrust his hand forward, sending a column of orange light against the creeping shadow. The collision ignited a blinding glare, and the shadow person shrieked, unraveling into 1,000 wisps, none to return. Oliver floated near him, his chuckle mingling with the fading echoes of the shadow. "You do love the theatrics," Oliver quipped, summoning a smile despite the weight entrenched in the atmosphere. Yet there was no time for delight. The true danger loomed ever darker. As more shapes converged, JB felt the tug of despair around him. Specters, lost remnants of those trapped between worlds, hovered alongside the shadows, their forms ethereal yet agonized. They pulled at JB's heart, needles of loss and longing. He recognized the familiar glint of a memory seeker, a ghost unwilling to let go. "Can't you feel it?" JB asked Oliver, breathing a little heavier. "Every specter is a story, every shadow a reminder." "Stories worth telling, JB," Oliver murmured softly, his visage turning serious. "And shadows are worth pushing back." A flicker of determination ignited in JB's chest, and as he faced the onslaught, he closed his eyes, focusing deeply. Here, he was not just a man battling against dark entities. He was the last light in a world threatened by encroaching oblivion. He could feel the energies of the other dimensions, echoes of parallel realities that lapped against their own like waves against a shore. "Forward," he bellowed, his voice a rallying cry that fused both defiance and hope. JB and Oliver surged forward, weaving through shadows and phantoms, using every ounce of their powers to send each entity back into oblivion. With every encounter, JB felt more attuned, aware now of the fractured dimensions spiraling around him. He could hear the whispers of the lost, pleas, regrets, and angry laments. Pulling together their essence, JB unleashed a final defiant blast. The air resonated with a harmony that rippled outward, a cascade of light sending every shadow and specter recoiling into the abyss, plunging back into the interwoven dimensions from which they came. The darkness receded, leaving nothing but stillness. The world outside shifted and blinked back into focus. Flitting figures resumed their banal lives, unaware of what lurked just on the edges. "Let's go," JB said, catching his breath, a bitter smirk tugging his lips as he turned to Oliver. "Another day, another battle under the veil. You know, this never gets boring." Oliver chuckled, a low sound that echoed with understanding. "It certainly doesn't, my friend. But the darkness is always out there, waiting. We can't rest for long." They stepped away from the alley, emerging from shadows into the folds of reality, ready for the next conflict, the next spectral intrigue, forever living between light and dark, where whispers of the past fought against the tide of the present. And in those moments, JB and Oliver forged an existence unbound by either realm, holding the veil between worlds as their own.